Guys, and welcome to the introductory to ShowIt tutorial. I wanted to create this video for you guys so I can take you on a private tour of this platform and show you where all the different components are for editing the website and just how to navigate around the platform. So let's dive in. Okay, to start over here on the left-hand side, we're gonna have, I'm gonna have you go into the site settings and I'm gonna show you the different elements within here. So here is where you can edit your site name. So I recommend editing that to your business name. This is where you're gonna connect your domain. So you're gonna have to set up your domain either with like Google Domains or GoDaddy, whatever platform you prefer. And then you're gonna add that information here. ShowIt is going to have a step-by-step guide on how to do that. And so I would recommend looking at that. You can also contact them directly over here with the Get Help buttons, and you can ask them a question if you're struggling with that, and they actually will walk you through the process. They're really great about that. Next is where you would update your favicon. So this is where you'd put your little circle or square logo. And the rest is just for sharing the URL with other people so they can see the designs before you actually publish it. This is also where you would set up your blog. Again, ShowIt is great with that, with customer service. They're going to actually help you set that up. Over here, we have the third party where you're going to set up your Google Analytics if you want to track what's going on in your website, seeing where traffic is coming from and what people are actually doing within your website. So definitely recommend setting that up as well. All right, so that's where your site settings is. I'm going to quickly show you what the share is. If you are not creating a ShowIt website template, don't worry about this, but this is where you would go if you were going to share this design to be used as a template. Again, most likely not going to need that. Okay, next up, I want to show you within your design settings. So click on that. And within here, you are going to have your color palette. So this is where you would go and update your colors to match your brand colors. And you can just click on it and update the hex codes there and update all that. And that's going to update any of the colors that are applied to your website. That's going to update site-wide. So if you want to update all of this tan color, then it's going to update all of them for you. And then your type styles, this is where you would update all of your headers, all of your subheaders, paragraph fonts. You can go in here and set that up where you would update the font here. If you want to change the size or the line height, alignment, all of that. You can change the color and the link, so what the color would be if you hover over it. All of that is going to live within the site styles and the type styles. Now, if you want to add a different font that is not already within your font choices, I'm going to go ahead and show you where you do that. So click on fonts up here, and here's where you can choose from any Google fonts that they offer and add that to your active fonts. Now, if you wanted to add a custom font that is not available from Google Fonts, that is where you would create a WOFF file. Could not tell you what that means, but you can do that within Font Squirrel. They would help you with that. There's a link right there. But you would add that file to your media library, which I'm going to show you in a second. And then it would pop up here under this drop down. You click on it. You got to click here that you own the license. So that's really important that you own the right license to add this to your website. And then you would add that to your active fonts, and it would show up within your site style drop down. And it's actually going to be available when you're editing the canvas, when you're editing your site, it's going to pop up in that drop down as well. So there's two places you can edit the fonts. This is going to be site wide. You can edit the fonts here, and this is going to be applied to site wide, or you can actually edit the fonts and the typefaces within the different canvases. I recommend doing it this way so they're all consistent. However, you do have a lot of control over customizing the fonts within the design itself, which I think is a really amazing feature that ShowIt offers. Okay, I'm not going to save that because I don't want to mess with my designs. And I will say your template might look different than this. I am just giving you a overlook of ShowIt. So the designs might look different depending on what template you are using. Next up is your media library. And this is where you're going to upload all your imagery. And I definitely recommend that you try and be strategic with your naming, because you can actually search. I'm not strategic with my naming here, but you can search within the media library. Like, I can search brand guideline, like I know what I'm looking for. So I would definitely recommend being strategic with the way you name your files so you can easily find them. And then you can actually create different subfolders over here if you want to organize them on that level. Moving on down the left side here, we have our pages. These are the different pages of your website. So obviously this is the home. There is an about page and a services page. So these are all your different pages. And I will say when you click on the three little dots here, this is where you can either rename the page, but just be careful when you rename a page, it could mess up other links that are linked to that. So definitely get the naming done right the first time. And if you have links, make sure to go and update those if you end up changing the name. So just be careful and wary when you rename a page. Here you can duplicate the page. So this is nice if you already have all the elements and you just want it to be a different type of page with different content, you can duplicate a page, which is great, save you a lot of time. Or you can actually copy this to WordPress and make it a blog template. Or you can delete it, but I don't recommend doing that. So yeah, this is where all your pages are going to live. Here are all the blog templates. So this is where WordPress is getting brought into. These all have elements within them, which I will dive into in a little bit, but these all have the elements of WordPress. This is a WordPress featured image. These are WordPress categories. This is a featured image. I'll show you this one. So these are all elements that are tied to WordPress, and that's what makes them the blog templates. Now your site canvases are what are being used throughout your entire site. So this is the desktop menu. So this is being used throughout the entire site. And what's nice about this is if I make an edit to this, it's going to be applied to the entire site design. So I'm not having to go back into each individual page up here and edit, the links on top there. So this is, where I keep my footer and the logo up at the top and an email sign up that I have on a few different pages. So I can just go in here and make edits once, and then it's going to be applied site-wide. Okay, so that is a little bit about the left-hand side here. I have one more thing I'm going to show you, then we'll move into actually editing the designs. Here is the tab site. So that's where all your pages and site styles and all that's going to live. Now, when you click on page up here, this is going to have the individual canvases that are applied to each page. So this is going to have the banner image. This is going to include the service highlights. So when you look at a page, each of these elements, I'm going to go ahead and get rid of mobile just so you don't have to look at both of those. Each of these are considered canvases. So I wish it would show the different canvas. Usually it shows a little line here, but either way, so each of these are different canvases. And so as you go on the page, they're layered. And so each of these have the different elements. So each element within a canvas is over here on the left-hand side, you can see. So you can either edit the canvas by clicking on them directly, or you can go over here. Here's a good example of how to use views. Views are different layers within a canvas. So this is used a lot for gallery images or tutorial testimonials like this. So you want multiple different pieces of content layered on top of each other, and then an action that's going to allow them to rotate so you can see multiple. So I'm going to show you how this works. So these are all different views within that one canvas. So there's different testimonials within a view, and so then I can actually navigate to a few different ones. So that's how views work. So how you create a view is if there's a few different elements, you would click on all those elements, and you could add canvas view here. So there's a lot of different elements within the three little dots here. You can rename a canvas, you can add a canvas view, you can duplicate a canvas. So this helps save a lot of time if you just have a section that you have all the right elements, just duplicate it. You can cut it, so that would it would delete it from this page, but it would copy it so you can bring it on another page. You can copy the canvas, which is really nice if you have you want to bring testimonials on another page and you already designed it out here. Copy it, and then you can bring it over to another page and paste it. I'm going to show you how to do that real quick. So let's say I want the reviews to go onto another page. I'm going to copy it, and I'm going to put it on my About page. And you can, oops, did I not copy it? Let's go back real quick. Copy, and bring it over to another page. Go to page, and paste reviews. And there it is. And you can just drag and drop it wherever you want it on the page. So I'm going to bring it, I'm not going to bring it there. So we're going to bring it down here. And see, you can just drag and drop where you want it. So I already have reviews on here, so I'm going to go ahead and delete that. So just delete. Let's go back to that home page, and I'm going to review a few more things with you guys. Okay, under these three dots, you can have these canvases visible on desktop or visible on mobile. So you have control on whether this is visible on just desktop or just mobile. which is nice. And you can actually view both of them down here, and you can see how the different designs are applied. So you have full control over your mobile site, which is really nice. Okay. Also within view, you can rename, duplicate, and delete those as well. So there's a lot more living under these three little dots. So keep scrolling down the page here. Let me see what else I can show you. So here's an example with these little diagonal lines within this bar here. That means it's a Canvas site. So if I'm going to edit this, this is going to edit all of the footer on every page. So that shows you that. And then here's mobile menu as well. So that's also going to be applied site-wide. All right, I think that is everything that I wanted to show you on the left-hand side here. Next, I want to take you down here. When you click on your name, this should be whatever your name is that you signed up in. Here are if you have multiple sites, that's where you find it under there. View your share designs. This is where you'd manage your account, where all your account settings would live, your subscription, manage your domain names, and all of that good stuff. So that is under your name under here. Okay, next up, I showed you this already, but this is where you could view either mobile and desktop, or you could view just mobile and see how that works. And you can actually preview it up here with just mobile, or you could just do desktop as well. So I do recommend, if you have a big enough screen, it's kind of hard if you're on a little screen, but if you have a big enough screen, it's kind of nice to have them both open, because when you make adjustments to desktop, you definitely want to make sure that the mobile is looking okay, because sometimes if you change it, like for example, with this element, which I'm going to get into all this over here to the right here, but if you change the background here, you're going to need to maybe go and change the background over here. I'm going to show you how to swap an image where you can, it's going to apply to mobile, but the background images need to be changed on both, because they want you to have control over mobile, so you can really make it a really unique experience, and make sure that if an image works really well horizontally, maybe do a vertical image here to make up for that. Okay, let's keep moving along. Under here is where you can actually add some site guides, which is nice when designing. They also have, there's my Canvas guides, but I kind of like to have them off, but it is nice to sometimes have them on when you're designing and moving elements around. Okay, let's keep moving along the left side here. So this allows you to zoom in and out of your designs, which is kind of nice if you're like doing, writing a lot of text and you want to zoom in and not completely squint the entire time. And here down here on these three toolbars are where you are going to add in your header or your title text, your header text, subheader, paragraph. So these are the text blocks that are already styled out, because you set them up in this site or the design settings. So you can come here and click on this, and you can add different titles, and then you just double click and you can add in your own text. Whatever you want to do. I'm going to show you, look over here. You want to make sure that you come over here and edit that within the mobile and put it where you want, and make sure it's aligned and it doesn't look like it's just on top of, a section. Okay. So here's where you can add all those different types of paragraph styling. I'm going to delete that because we don't need it. Okay, under this little icon here is where you can add different graphics or elements to your website. So you can add a rectangle, a line, an icon, which icon is pretty sweet because ShowIt gives you access to all these different icons. So if you need social media icon, or an arrow or something like that, quotes, all that good stuff is already there, ready for you to go. You can always add in your own. However, I do think it's nice to use their icon library because it's just right there and convenient. I'm going to go ahead and delete that guy. This is where you can add embedded code. So when would you use embedded code? I feel like I should just make a blank page so you can see. So I use embedded code for my contact forms on my own website, or if you wanted to add in like a Shopify buy button, that's where I use that. So all you have to do is, it can be intimidating, but it's really quite easy as long as where you're coming from gives you the code to add in. So just add this box, double click on it. This is where you would paste the code. Once you paste it, it's going to show up there live. So you can come here, and this is where you would add in the code, and it's going to show you what that looks like. So the form is going to actually populate so you can see it and update the box to fit that. That is embedded code. So you can actually add video as well. And gallery is going to be a series of images that you can pick from the media library. So I'm going to add all those. This is doubled. And then this is going to automatically change if I preview. I really should add another canvas here because I don't like working on top of my other one. Oops. Look at, you can also copy and paste something. It's that easy. There she is. Okay, there she is. All right, let's preview that and you can see how that works. So yeah, it just automatically will change the images and you can actually add in buttons that would do that for you. However, it could automatically, you can change the gallery settings over here. Again, I'll get into that in a second. Let's see what else we have. Oh, you have also a social media grid. So this is great. You would have to connect your social account. I already have mine connected. You do that in the site settings and here it is. So then that is just automatically going to pull my posts from social media, which is nice to have. Okay, so those are the different elements under that icon. And then clicking on here is just the media library if you wanted to add an image to your canvas. So you can add that way. Okay, those are all those elements. Let me delete this guy here. Now let's move on to the right side here. Up here on the top left, we have preview and publish. Preview is going to allow you to preview your site before you publish it. So you can either preview it within the platform itself, or you can actually click on this button and it's going to preview it within a full, a web browser. So you can really see the sizing of everything, making sure it all fits and see how the different elements work. You can test out your rotating testimonials and see how the parallax image of the background works and test out a form. Yep, that works. Great. Okay, so that's how you preview. And now the button here, publish, is when you are ready to publish it to the live domain. So you're ready, you made your edits, you previewed it, it looks good. Publish it, it's going to be live. So that's where you would go to publish it. I don't have a domain set up with this because it's a template, so I can't publish right now. Okay, now let's go over here to site. And when you click on a page, so up here, you click on this top tab here, or you click on the page here. Either way, what you're going to get is on the right hand side is the page info. So this would be the page name. Page background would be if you wanted to change the color, or you can add a gradient. I wouldn't recommend that, or you can make it none. I usually have a color added to it. However, you can change the color of each different canvas if you wanted to. Animation, so this is if you wanted to add the default hover, so all of the page is going to have the same hover effect and all that stuff. This is also going to have your SEO settings where you're going to come in here and add in your page title and meta description. Highly recommend you come in here and add that stuff in so your site can be searchable. And then advanced settings is where you're going to come in here and add in any custom CSS or JavaScript. I usually don't mess around with this. I don't even know what that is, to be honest, but this is where you'd add that in. Okay, so that's when you click just on each individual page. So now when you click on an individual canvas, so remember, this is a page and these are your canvases, a different set of information is going to come up here. So this is your canvas settings. So we have the name of the canvas. Now the stacking order, this is important. Your stacking order is where it lies within the page. So if you look here, I have the stacking order of this at a 10 because I want this to be above everything else because it's a sticky header. So I want this to scroll above any elements underneath it. So think of all these numbers associated with the layer in which the canvas is on. So this is a 0. So this is going to be at the complete bottom. This is a 10. So this is going to be above any other number. So just keep that in mind as you're adding elements. If you're adding new canvases, that if something is going underneath an element, come and look at the stacking order. The canvas might be underneath the other one. And so you can just change the number. If I wanted this to be above a section, above this section, I would maybe change that to a 1, keep this a 0. Next up, we have just a mobile and desktop. This is just like the initial height of these, of the different canvases. We have hidden to start where it wouldn't necessarily be showing at first. It might show up when it scrolls. sticky would be if you wanted to stay up at the top. Really, that's just going to apply to your menus. I would not make a canvas sticky because you're not going to see any other elements of the page, so don't worry about that. Next up is the canvas background. This is where you're going to apply either a color or an image. And if your toolbar ever disappears, there's a little button there that is kind of hard to see, but that's how you do that. So as you can see, here's the image associated with that background. And so here's where you can, if you click on the image itself, you can come in here and choose a different image as the background. And I wanted to also show you that you can change where the center point is. You can change here in under position. So if I wanted this middle left or bottom right, it's going to change where the image is showing up. I don't even know where I had it. Let's do middle center. I think it automatically does middle center. Perfect. This is also where you can set up if you want it fixed, parallax, or scroll page. Parallax, as I showed you, it kind of like shows a little bit more movement. So I usually like to do that. You can also change the opacity. So if I wanted to make this darker so you can really read the text, you can mess around with the opacity and you can change the color. So say you had black text over an image, you might want to make this background white to really make it pop. So you have control over the color background and making the text really stand out if you have text over an image. Animation is, again, where you have either canvas in, canvas out. That's where if you wanted elements to come in, fade in and stuff like that, that's where you would do the different animations. You can do, again, view transitions. This is going to be canvas view in, like if you wanted to fade or if you wanted it to fade out. Can apply those as well. Scroll action. I honestly don't mess with this very often, so you'd have to look at a ShowIt tutorial for that. Okay, so that is a little bit more on the right-hand side when you're looking at a canvas. So this is a full canvas. You're looking at all the different elements. Now, when you are editing different parts of the canvas, let me show you how to do that. So say you want to swap out this image. Click on the image, and then you swap it out right here. And so you go in here, pick another image, and that is actually going to be applied to both mobile and desktop. So if you wanted, again, I highlighted this before, but if you wanted to swap out this background, you're going to want to change both desktop and mobile. So if I swap this out for something else, I'm going to need to come back over here and swap it out as well. I also didn't highlight this before, but there's also undo and redo buttons down here if you mess something up. Just come down here and undo it. Okay, let's continue to talk about how to edit different elements. Here, if you want to edit the color of a box, anything you want to edit, just click on it within the design, and the right side is going to populate all the ways to edit it. If I wanted to change this text, just do it that way. You can also link text here, and then you can edit any of the site styling. So say the line height needs to be adjusted a little bit, or you want to make this a left orientation. If I wanted to make it all uppercase, lowercase, all of that is going to live under here. The inline links, that's going to change the color when it's hovered on. All of that lives on the right-hand side here. Text property, that's if I wanted to, let's see if it's on this page. Let's go back to home. I'll show you this. I actually did need to edit this. Okay, so if someone wants to come and you want to make a contact form, you come up here and do text properties, and you can enable the input, and that allows them to enter in their information. Okay, let's keep moving along here. In terms of imagery, we have the orientation of the imagery, we have the size and where it lives on the page. You can center it to the canvas, or you can do horizontal locking. So I wanted to bring this up. Horizontal locking is where it's going to either stay to the right side, it's going to lock to the right side in the position that it's in. This is going to grow with the right side, so it's going to stay locked to the right side. However, it might expand to fill the space, and this is going to have it locked on both sides. So let me find an example for you guys. Let's go back to services. I hope I don't have this guy locked over here. Here, there's an example. So this is going to stay locked to the left-hand side, but also expand. So it's going to stay centered. See, it's going to lock to that left-hand side, but it's already centered over here. So if I had it locked like this, it might not be centered in the middle here. See how it kind of stays over there? So those are just ways of locking the images in place. Under here, we also have click actions, so you can make different things, obviously, clickable. They can go to either different page on the website. You can go to, obviously click the different page that you want them to go to. You can have them go to a different canvas. So this is where, come over here to page, your different names of your canvases, and you can have them actually go to the different canvas name here. Transitions are going to be if you wanted elements to fade in or fade out, slide in, slide out, which is kind of nice to create some movement. So if I clicked on this and added a transition to slide in, it's going to give me a few more elements. So it's going to do timing, and it can slide in from the right. And then when someone lands on that section, it's going to come swooping in from the right. And you can actually set up the canvas default within this tab under here, animations. Okay. Let's keep moving along. I'm trying to think of anything else I can show you. So here's the hover effects. If you wanted a button to have a hover effect, that's going to live here. So I have this set up under page default. So again, when you come up to the page tab, you can set that up and then apply the page default. You can also do custom, where each hover effect is going to be different. And you can either have that where it changes the color or changes the font. You can make it bold. You can add some letter spacing and just add an element to show the user that this thing is clickable. Effects, so you can add drop shadows to elements. Let's do this. And so you can see this, you can add drop shadows and do that kind of stuff. You can, this is also where you're going to have, if you want to make this a little see-through, you can change the opacity. I can make this a round square or a circle and play with that here. That would be under effects. Okay, and then last we have the Get Help. So this is where you can go find helpful documents that are going to show you exactly how to use different elements in probably a lot more detail than I am sharing. But I just wanted to give you an overview of the platform. And then this is also where you can ask them directly. They usually take about a day or so to get back to you. Usually reply time a day. But they do get back. Sometimes they can just go into your site. If you're really struggling, they'll go in and fix it for you, or they'll walk you through the process, send you tutorial videos. So I highly recommend using this if you ever get stuck. I think that is all of the elements that I wanted to show you within ShowIt. I hope you found this helpful. All right, I wish you the best of luck as you create your ShowIt website.